Clinton has been making universal health care a centerpiece of her message across the country. So when her campaign released its latest financial reports, it was pretty surprising to see them in the hole more than $290,000 in unpaid health insurance bills. Clinton blunder. The campaign insists no services were denied as a result of the unpaid bills, and tonight they tell NBC News the bills have now been paid. But some of those bills were more than 2 months old. Tucker, it just doesn't look good when the campaign crusading for universal health care doesn't pay its own health care bills on time.
Are you saying that there's hypocrisy at the heart of limousine liberalism? I think you're onto something, Dan. I think the bigger problem here is not that her staff may have gone without health care. They didn't, apparently. But the system is affected when you do things like this. If you want to improve the healthcare system, and that's Hillary's whole reason for being on this earth, as she explains day after day, you probably ought not to stiff the very system you're trying to keep afloat, right?
Lawrence?
Well, it also shows how difficult Hillary's mandate is. Remember, Hillary wants to make it a crime, in effect, to not pay those health insurance premiums. And so for her campaign, there's a little extra pressure on this, and it is a serious blunder in those terms. I mean, if there's one bill in that campaign that they should have kept an eye on, it's this one. Let the phone bill go a couple of months, okay, but not this one.
That is such a smart point. She would make this a crime. Exactly. That is such a smart point. She would make this a crime. Exactly.
Let's look at health care, another contrast between you and Senator Obama. He's been pressing that case this weekend. The key difference, as you point out, is you would require everyone to have health insurance. You believe that will get to universal coverage. He would not. Here's what Senator Obama said about that in the debate.
You can mandate it, but there's still going to be people who can't afford it. And if they cannot afford it, then the question is, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to fine them? Are you going to garnish their wages?
You didn't get the chance to answer that question in the debate. What is the answer to those two questions? Will you have fines for people who don't buy health care, don't go by the mandate? Will you garnish their wages?
George, let's put this in context, because this is a big difference between us. And I'm absolutely going to do everything I can to achieve that. You know, with respect to how do you get people to do it, I find this somewhat bewildering. You know, about 20% of the people who don't have health insurance in America today could well afford it, even at the cost that it is, which is exorbitant. So what we've got to do is have shared responsibility. Everybody has to pay something.
Let me interrupt you there, because the other night at the debate you said that you and Senator Edwards bit the bullet on this question of mandates. And Senator Edwards was quite clear in his plan. He said if people still didn't buy the insurance, their wages would be garnished. And I still haven't heard. If people can afford it and they don't buy the insurance, will their wages be garnished under your plan? Will they have to pay fines?
Well, I think you can automatically enroll people, and you will then say you've got to be part of this. But if you don't start with universal health care, if you don't say everybody's going to be in the system, we'll never get there.
Hillary's plan will, excuse me, let me read this again, forces everyone to buy insurance even if you can't afford it. You pay a penalty if you don't. And I want to bear down on this question one more time, because they're claiming this issue of the penalty, and a lot of independent healthcare experts, many who worked with you in 1994, say that without these enforcement mechanisms, you simply can't get to universal coverage. You can't claim to have universal coverage, so there's no difference between your plan and Senator Obama's. And I mean, you talked about automatic enrollment. Will you garnish wages of people who don't comply, don't buy the insurance?
George, we will have an enforcement mechanism, whether it's that or it's some other mechanism through the tax system or automatic enrollments. But you're missing, I believe, the key point. If you don't do what I am saying we do, we will never even attempt to get to universal health care. And the reason why I think there are a number of mechanisms, you know, going after people's wages, automatic enrollment, when you are at the place of employment, you will be automatically enrolled. Whatever the mechanism is not as important as commitment to universal health care.